On a picturesque block, pulled from an Edward Hopper painting, a man lives with his mother in their perfectly manicured home. A sleepy town in New Zealand, people go about their day without any disturbance. The man mows his lawn, a woman runs the local market, and the zoo is promoting a new attraction. But under the guise of this peaceful town, something evil lurks, terrifying, deep within the shadows. The evil closes in behind you and bursts forth through you. The neighbors are starting to act funny and suddenly crave the taste of human flesh in their soups. Can you find the source of this evil before the whole town has been contaminated? Or will you be the last survivor and the first up on the dessert menu? This is It Records. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. This is It Records. I'm your host, Matt Johnson. This week we did the 1992 film directed by Peter Jackson, Dead Alive. And before we get into that, I'm joined as always with Peter and Lindsay. Thanks for joining us, guys.
Thanks, man.
You make it sound like it's your show.
I know. I've turned it around. Like I'm the host, and you guys just happen to drop by.
Like every this is just every episode.
Yeah, every episode you guys just happen to be by when I had my mic set up, so I invited you and you just happened to see the movie.
We have nothing to do. We somehow coordinated without coordinating anything. We just happened to be here.
Got a stroke of luck every time.
Oh, I appreciate it, guys. I really do. You guys got some loyal fans out there. But this week we watched the 1992 New Zealand film directed by Peter Jackson, Dead Alive, the same guy who did the Lord of the Rings trilogy, which you're probably more familiar with. And this movie is nothing like Lord of the Rings or King Kong, for that matter. So if you like those, this one's completely different.
His filmography is kind of insane to me because it just like before Lord of the Rings, it's so different. Like he kind of followed like after Lord of the Rings, what was it? He did one, then King Kong, and then two, or did he finish all the Lord of the Rings first and then do King Kong? Because I know they did it all at the same time.
I think King Kong was like interspersed within.
Okay.
Before Return of the King came out.
Yeah, that's fucking rough. And obviously he did the Hobbit trilogy, and I don't think he did much in between the two. Not that I remember.
Did he do those Lightning Thief movies or the first one? I always saw like Peter Jackson's.
I thought he produced.
It was supposed to be like a Harry Potter.
I thought he produced it. Yeah, okay. I think he didn't have enough time to direct it. Like, I think he was maybe at one point supposed to. But I think what the turning point for him, for like genre-wise, was this movie called Heavenly Creatures, which is an insane film to me. It's like two teenagers that like are like, it seems like they're desperately in love with each other, but we never see them have like an intimate relationship, at least from what I remember, because they were like 14, and it's like Nicole Kidman, and yeah, it's like crazy. I'm pretty sure it's Nicole Kidman. Let me look before I confirm that. Okay.
And you're saying this movie is like the one that trans?
Yeah. Okay, I was wrong. It's Kate Winslet. For some reason, I get them confused. And then Melanie Linsky is the other lead. I'm not sure who that is. But it's like pretty, like their relationship is intense. And it's like more of a dramatic heft to it than his other movies, which I think kind of like impressed New Line Cinema to give them I think Lord of the Rings was New Line, was like one of the last, like before New Line was like bought out. It was like their last big movie.
Okay. Interesting. I hadn't heard of that. But was that one you're saying is more of a dramatic take? It's not really horror.
Yeah, it's definitely like thriller-esque because like it's really creepy, and I think they like, I mean I don't want to ruin too much, but they like commit crimes together. or like they enjoy like going into like crime together, and they like have a spark, and then they're like just desperately in love. At least what it seems like to me. It's just like they're like a really like unhealthy like obsession with each other. Like when they were away from each other, they would just be devastated. It was like really intense, and it was like incredibly acted, like horrifying. It was like a really good movie, and it was like a hard watch because it's just like so many emotions. But I think it really proved that he could do drama, because before that he did like, as I know this is a tangent, but Dead Alive is just so different because it's like that's like old Peter Jackson, because he had the crazy horror influences, because he did Bad Taste before this. Meet the Feebles was around the same time, which is like a demented Muppets movie. Then I think this one, and there might be another one in there somewhere, but they're all like. So, basically, my point is that, really early Peter Jackson is very like influenced from King Kong and like other like early horror films, and I guess like, I don't know, it's his weird New Zealand personality. I don't know. I can't explain him because like he's just such a weird director, because he did such a dramatic change, and I can't describe it.
This one, Dead Alive, is very much, I would say, like a slapstick splatter.
Yeah.
Horror movie, which is really different from anything that I think most people know him for.
Yeah.
And as you mentioned, he loves like those old, I guess like King Kong type movies, those monster movies, so much that the Sumatran rat monkey in this movie that contains a virus, we'll get more into that later, is from Skull Island, which is King Kong.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't even catch that.
I didn't either.
It's like it's the first credit of the movie, because it's like giving you a location of where they are. It's Skull Island, where King Kong is supposed to be.
That's pretty brilliant.
The accents in this movie like really threw me off, because it's like because we don't see too many movies come from New Zealand. I think is part of it, and like there's
That's true.
The reason why there is more of a presence in New Zealand now for film is because of Peter Jackson and Lord of the Rings. Like that's why we got like What We Do in the Shadows, I think it's called. The guy.
Oh, I love.
The guy from Flight of the Conchords. Yeah, I like that movie a lot.
Yeah, that's a good movie. I think it's Jermaine something, right?
Yeah, Jermaine. Is it Clementine or something? I can't.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So with this one, we briefly touched on, I guess, what it is. It's Peter Jackson, and it's a departure. It's a slapstick, really gory movie. I mean, that's what it's known for in the horror genre. Is like it's been claimed as the bloodiest horror movie that's ever been made. And essentially, it deals with, there's this virus that comes through this Sumatran rat monkey that bites people in New Zealand, and they turn into zombie-like creatures that start to catch on to everybody in town. Essentially is what happens.
Did the sorry, another tangent for a second. Did the mom, his crazy ass mom, kind of remind me of the crazy aunt in Sleepaway Camp? Like if she got older.
Ooh, they had some similarities for sure.
Yeah, like just like over time, like they seem like they would be the same person, because this mom is batshit crazy.
Like overbearing.
Oh yeah.
Very overbearing.
That's the nicest thing I could say about her.
It's like she lost. So it's like, let's say Sleepaway Camp. She lost Ricky, but still had Angela, and then this is how she turned out. Opening up letters with a fucking butcher knife.
Like a badass.
Yeah.
It's just like that really like. This like emphasized like opening, and so it just really makes me laugh.
It was very aggressive.
And then you got her son Lionel, who I found to be pretty passive, because he's got that mother, and But I mean, and we can get more into the plot in a little bit, but you know, I do find, you know, that he gains a lot of strength after dealing with everything that he has to deal with. So his character definitely goes through that journey of change and growth. So I applaud him for that.
That is definitely true. Like 100%. He goes from like just a pushover to wielding lawnmowers later on in the movie.
Zero to hero.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't put it better myself.
What? So, I want to hear. I've seen this movie before. Were you familiar with this movie before we watched it?
Not at all.
I was familiar. I had never seen it. So first time seeing it.
So, I'm just come out and say that I really love this movie. And it is. I forgot how I like remember it being gory, but I was like, oh my god, this is a lot of blood. Like you just forget.
Yeah.
Because like, I remember the first time I watched it. I think I was like, I don't know, 18 or 19, and I watched it on my like friend's projector in his like home theater. It was a great way to watch it, and like I just remember the father comes in. He's like, I kick ass for the Lord. I know I'm just like jumping way all over now. But we thought that was so funny, and he's just like karate chopping like zombies in half. Like me and my friends just stood up and started clapping.
I mean, it's an iconic line. Like, I'm not gonna.
It's so it's so unexpected, and it caught me so off guard, and I thought it was like so funny.
Because who says that? I've never heard someone say that before. But I like it.
And with the way he
It was
says
such a-
it too, it's just like really, really hamming it up.
Like, don't mess with him.
I did not think that's the way this scene was going at all. Like I thought he might have intervened, but like the power of Christ compels you sort of a situation, not like full on karate,
Yeah.
taking out zombies, kicking off heads.
Yeah.
So it was great.
Yeah. In every sense of the word.
And I think the movie, like that's us describing that scene alone, just describes the zaniness of the rest of the movie. It just like really amplifies of how crazy and like weird it gets and gory and disgusting. It's like a really gross film.
It's absolutely
The only
most
film I could think that
disgusting movie I've ever seen.
may be grosser or on par with it is like The Fly. I think I think The Fly is definitely not as gory, but like the body horror in that movie just like always stuck with me as being really like one of the grossest movies. And this one is just like it's a lot of blood, but there's also like decay at that dinner scene, which we brought up before the recording.
Oh, yeah.
It's really gross. And did you say that you were eating during this movie, Lindsay?
I made the grave mistake of eating a McDonald's muffin while I was watching this movie.
Oh, that's so rough with those rubbery eggs too. Oh, that's so
Yeah.
gross.
I was at work too when I was watching some of it. I just have no idea, obviously.
So you watched this
I
movie
mean, I
at work?
underestimated it too.
Yeah, I had some downtime. I was
That's
kind of
great.
just chilling. And,
Oh, that's so funny.
but yeah, word to the wise, don't eat while you watch this movie.
Yeah, it was actually released. I think it was just in New Zealand when it came out with barf bags. Like when you like bought it or when you rented it, like it was like a marketing tool, but I think kind of serious because it's a very disturbing movie.
I love that.
Like there were certain times where I was like, I underestimated this movie going in. I was like, I know it's supposed to be gory, but I can handle it. And there were certain moments where I was like really like physically feeling myself getting sick watching this movie.
You thought you could be in the movie?
So I would have wanted one of those barf bags.
Yeah, seriously.
My girlfriend asked me about like, oh, like, should I watch the movie with you? And I was like, I really like this movie, but I honestly don't think you could handle it because like, she likes watching like dumb horror movies with me. Not that I think horror movies are dumb, but some of them are, and I think they're great. But this one like really like goes above and beyond like how gross a movie can be, and I was just like, I honestly don't think you're ready for it.
No.
maybe
That's completely fair.
maybe someday. Cause like she like enjoys more of like the dumb slashers that are just like really bad.
Don't we all?
And it's like yeah, like a prom night or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like those I think would be more up her alley. But she surprised me though. She likes Killer Clowns from Outer Space, which is a very weird movie.
I got that vibe from the title.
Yeah, it's a great title. And I think one of the taglines is, in space, no one can see you eat ice cream or something along those lines. It just, like, rips off, like, other movies' taglines, and I think it's really funny.
I like the sound of that. There's no confusion of what it's about then.
Straight to the point.
Yeah. But anyways, back to Dead Alive. What is... I mean, there's no plot, really, besides, like, kill zombies and being gross.
At first, he's trying to protect it. He's protecting his mother when it starts.
Yeah.
And she turns into one of these things because she gets bit by the rat that's brought over to the zoo.
Yeah.
And he's really trying to keep her, like, he basically is housing her like he normally would and trying to figure out how to, like, bring her back. And then more people turn to the zombies, and he's, like, at first really just trying to take care of them.
Yeah.
And
He's got a good heart.
that's the movie. Take care of these crazy zombies that are disgusting and, like, losing limbs.
And then eating them. Oh, did I say too much?
No.
I'm not eating, so I'm okay right now.
Yeah. Also, we're always in full spoilers because that's just what we do here. We just always spoil the movie for, you know.
True.
You should watch the movie before you listen. I guess I don't know.
Isn't that how it works?
Yeah.
Or like, you know, you could still enjoy the movie if it's not spoiled for you because like, it's not like you're missing. You know, we're not giving like plot by plot points.
Yeah. I mean, it did come out like 25 years ago too.
Yeah.
So there's that.
And I think
That is true.
I think it's also not as a big a deal with horror films because like there's just some like the entertainment value doesn't really come. It like comes from like aesthetic wise and like appearance wise and like everything's like visual rather than like I think like spoken words is not really like. I mean, there's like horror movies that have good dialogue, but usually not. It's like usually like it's so bad it's good, or it's like oh it's not the worst thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's true.
And then you have like a few gems that are like oh, Silence of the Lambs has a great dialogue for a horror film, or just a film in general.
Yeah. I mean, it won Best Picture, so
Yeah,
it did pretty good.
yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm. So I want to talk about a scene, I mean, spoilers, but these are technically zombies. We can get into if they're zombies or whatever. But two zombies in this film have sex. This happens in the movie. And then a baby. We have a baby zombie in this movie.
Who is crazy comical, also evil.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. It goes like and like fucking laughs, and you see its little legs like stubble around, and it like gets like kicked and flailed around, and it's just like he just like wanted to do everything he possibly could in the movie, and I think he did.
Yeah, I was reading on that, and like it's totally like makeup and prosthetics. This baby zombie that we see, but when like you see the baby running away, it's like somebody else. It's like a 4-year-old with the prosthetic mask on.
Nice.
So like if you watch it again, it's like the prosthetics, and then it's like this little kid running away. It's clearly not a baby. And
That's good to know.
he shot those baby shots with the remainder of the budget they had. Like the movie was done shooting, and then they had budget left over, and he was like, "I'm shooting with the baby zombie," and they put the baby zombie in.
That's
So it's like an afterthought.
hilarious.
That's great. I'm glad they added it because it's just like It's like annoyingly enjoyable.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a good.
Because then, like, at some point, you're just like, just kill the little baby.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I want to point out that if you're looking to get rid of zombies, it appears the best way to get rid of them is to like chop them, because like animal stimulants are not going to help your cause.
Yeah, that's true.
You might think it's poison, but it's not. But that's really...
It's weird that... No, what were you going to say?
Go ahead.
I was going to say that's weird that like that's a rule in the movie, because like dismemberment is not really too many things we've seen in a horror film. I would say zombies. The only one I could really think of at the top of my head is that where they gave rules of dismemberment is like the remake of Evil Dead, where they tried giving like, here are the guidelines to Evil Dead, and they did that. Like how, you bury the dead, you dismember them, and that's like the only movie I can think of where dismemberment is a part of killing zombies.
Mm-hmm.
Besides Evil Dead, if you count that as zombies, or you want to call them deadites or possession, whatever, it's basically a zombie.
Yeah, that's true, but that's like I feel like an ingrained idea of a zombie is dismemberment, or like taking off the head or something, but it's never really ever explicitly said.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I feel like a bullet to the brain is like the
Mm-hmm.
go-to.
Yeah. Where in this one we do get dismemberment, like in the first 5 minutes of the film,
Yeah, that was brutal.
from the zoologist
Yeah.
who gets bit by the rat. So right from the get-go, this movie's going to be intense, because he gets bit and they just start chopping away with a machete at his limbs.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't you want to play the trailer for everyone, Matt? I know you didn't. Or are you going to skip that?
No, we can definitely do that. I was going to do that right at the beginning when I was describing the plot. But yeah, I got one that's actually got some backstory into it. So the listener will get some details. All right.
On this picturesque block, in this manicured home, something evil, something terrifying, something horrifying is haunting Lionel. His mother,
I thought I told you to spray this house. The place is infested with vermin.
although she was a little strict,
Look at this dust. It's an inch thick.
he never wished her any harm
You look after me like
until
Your mother's dead, Lionel.
now, whatever Mom's got
Who's your mother?
has caught on with the neighbors.
She's been bitten. You know what that means?
You can pray.
I kick ass for the law.
You can plead. You can beg for mercy.
Help! Someone! Please!
But nothing you can do will stop.
There's thousands of them!
Because how do you kill something that's already dead? Trimark Pictures presents a modern masterpiece of horror.
Your mother ate my dog!
Dead Alive.
Party's over.
Wow, what a trailer. That was a great trailer. Oh. But there's a lot of spoilers in that trailer. The lawnmower scene is in the trailer, which I think is one of the best scenes of the movie.
It's pretty iconic.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's like the absolute craziest, like, all of the things coming together, because it's like the party right? Isn't it a party that happens and then like everyone gets slowly infected? And I love where the zombie gets like shoved into a light bulb and then his face glows. It's just like, what? It's just like so crazy. And I was like, I always thought that was so cool when I first saw it, and I still like it now.
Yeah, did you guys...
Yeah, there's some very...
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Did you guys read that they use like 5 gallons of blood per second for that lawnmower scene? And like,
Yeah.
Like, I absolutely 100% believe that. Like, that's incredible.
Yeah, it was intense, because, and I mean, that's just that scene, and there's so much more blood in the rest of the movie, too.
Yeah, just that
It's
scene
ridiculous.
Yeah. Where he goes in with the lawnmower blade up, and he's attacking people, and then he turns around and realizes that he's barely hit anybody, and he's got to go back in. And it's just,
How disheartening is that?
Yeah.
Also, something I wanted to point out is that we haven't talked about his girlfriend / love interest at all.
Paquita.
Oh, Paquita, yeah.
The mother absolutely hates for no
she's
reason.
infringing on her territory.
Do you think
Leave my son alone.
is like jealous that her son's like paying attention to like someone else and like actually has a love interest of his own? Because I think that's what it is. Like not being able to let go.
Yeah, I think so
of
too.
that. Hence.
Yeah, it's like a definitely like a makes it like a creepy side to an overbearing mother, because it's like, well, why don't you want your son to be happy with his girlfriend or whatever?
Yeah. Completely. And that's, I mean, her like inability to deal with that is what led to this entire mess, you know? Because like if she didn't follow them down to the zoo, this wouldn't have happened, but then we wouldn't have a plot. So
That is true.
all's well that ends well.
Was she?
Yeah.
They also made her like seem like a gypsy or something, because like she had like that weird like gem that saved her.
Yes.
I don't know. Was it a cross? I don't even remember what it was. It was
I
like
just knew it was
they
some
made it
sort of,
seem
like-
like not like a traditional religious sect, but like more of like she's like a foreign gypsy or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I took it. Like her grandmother or her aunt or whoever that was like a gypsy, almost like, I don't know, voodoo
Yeah.
something. Like reading tarot
Yeah,
cards,
that's
right?
what
That's
I
what
thought
she
it
was
was.
doing.
Yeah.
Predicting what the movie's going to be. And it was that cross was supposed to protect him. Which, yeah, that's the only reason Paquita is into him, is because of those cards.
Because they told her, like, she wasn't into him at first. And then she had a change of heart.
Well, the card said it's fate, so I'm going to try. I'm going to try to make this work.
I gotta give her props for that, I guess.
I mean, her dog did get eaten, so
That's right.
in the process. Which is the title, I think, of the Spanish version of this movie, is Your Mom Ate My Dog.
Yes. That's correct.
I
Yeah,
did not know that.
Which, that scene grossed me out.
All the scenes grossed
didn't
me
know-
out.
I didn't know what it was at first, and like it kept coming out like out of a magician's sleeve, like those different I don't know what they're called, but it kept coming out of the mom's mouth, and I was like, oh, it's the dog, it's the dog. Ugh.
Would you say? I would say the grossest scene is when actually the mom comes into the play, when she's like fully dead and like is really fat and like just naked and bloody, and he goes inside of her because she eats him. It's just really gross.
Yeah, it's bad.
That's like, I was just like, this is a lot. This is a lot going on.
Yeah.
Well, she was a zombie on stimulants.
That's
So,
Yeah.
I mean, what did you expect was going
Take
to
it up
happen?
another level with that.
Even seeing it maybe 2 times before this, I'm still surprised.
Yeah, I don't think that shock factor goes away anytime soon. How many views? Which is probably what they were going for, so it's fine.
What for you? I mean, I guess you don't say how you feel how you felt about it one way or another, but what was the scene that decided that you were either gonna love this movie or hate it? Like, what was the scene that did that for you?
That's a good question. Because this is a zany movie with it's intense. It's it's like a black comedy, really. It's slapstick. So you either hate it or you love it. um, one scene that really sticks out to me that I remember being really on board and laughing and forgetting that it was even supposed to be a horror movie was after the father scene, after he fought the people in the cemetery and Lionel had them in the house and feeding them breakfast like it was a normal everyday situation, and they were just sitting there and listening to him, and he was trying to pull their heads up because they kept falling on the table, or the one lady's neck kept falling off, and the uncle came, and it was anyway, that was the one I think that did it for me.
Oh yeah, did his uncle say something really creepy? He said something really disgusting, and I can't remember what he said.
I feel like he said a few of those.
If it's that scene, he comes out to greet his uncle, leaving the zombie people in the other room, shuts the door. That's where the two zombies start having sex, and you can hear the sex noises. And he starts to say, "Oh, you watching some sort of nudie movies or something?"
Yeah.
And can I join you? And then it was something I thought you're nothing like your father or something like that, something along those lines. And it was really weird. Why would you
say that?
Want to join? Why are you mentioning his father with these nudie movies? Okay. So maybe that's what you're thinking of.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. It
okay.
I just I can't remember it too much, but I always remember his uncle saying something weird, and I was like, that's a weird thing to say.
Yeah.
For me, I think, well, the scene that sticks out the most is the scene where they're eating, and the ear falls off the mom, and then she eats it. That was one of the most unsettling things I've ever seen. I didn't like that, but that's when I decided okay, I was wow, this is really fucking gross. And, yeah. But I mean, I hated all of that, don't get me wrong, but I liked the movie.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Pete?
I'm actually surprised that you said that you liked it, because I wasn't sure how... Because I know you haven't seen as many horror films as Matt or I, so it's it's a hard movie, it's a hard sell for a person who is not as familiar with the genre, because I think it's a huge step to get someone who's not familiar with the genre to like it or even watch it, because it's really gross and it's really gory, and I find people who aren't into horror are usually not a fan of gore. It's either yeah. I feel like you grew up, at least from our generation, liking Saw, and that's why you enjoy the gory films, or if you didn't like Saw, you kind of maybe your scariest movies, you enjoy your thrillers or something from David Finch or something. I don't know, I'm just throwing that off the top of my head.
No, that's fair.
But I'm glad that you enjoyed it, even despite it being really, really creepy and gross. I mean, God, what can I say? It's hard to pinpoint it, because I just still really like the movie, and it's I watched it at such an impressionable time, as being it was my first time enjoying horror films, was when I was 18, because I wasn't allowed to watch them as growing up.
Forbidden fruit.
It was very funny now, because now I've seen an exponential more than I did then. But I mean, obviously the lawnmower scene, obviously I always remember that, but I remember loving the movie even before that happened. And I think it just comes from just the obscure lines that are throughout the movie, and it's everything's just overemphasized.
Yeah.
And I think probably just from the beginning, honestly. Like, I can't, like, pinpoint an exact thing, but it's like Matt said earlier, with, like, things get started pretty quick with, like, the zoo guy, zookeeper, zoologist, I don't know. He, like, just fucking kills that monkey, right? It was the monkey?
Oh, at the beginning of the movie?
Or did he chop up a rat? I can't remember.
Oh, it was the rat that was at the zoo later.
Yeah.
But...
What was that?
Mhm.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, I couldn't remember what he chopped up, but I was like, oh, that this is the movie we were watching, okay.
Yeah, it's really got that,
Yeah.
like, exaggerated...
That's very true.
Everything's... It reminded me of a little bit of, like, a German expressionism film, but as I mentioned, we did The Suburbs, which is a slapstick horror. It's like that festival carnival ride. It's just like... It's like a funhouse, freak show type feel to the movie, where, like, you have these close-ups and these low angles, and things are at the Dutch angle, so it kind of feels disoriented. It's like really saturated colors and a lot of blood, so it just seems very exaggerated. And it kind of, like, I don't know, it kind of, I guess, disorients you a bit, and you either love it or you hate it because of that.
Yeah, I would say for people who aren't as keen on horror, they would definitely hate it, because there's, like the plot, like I said, is just, you know, he's trying to protect his mom, like, trying to save her, but, like, other than that, you know, there's everything else is, like, put into, like, special effects and how crazy everything is. Like, that's where all, like, the creativity went into, and I think that's what makes it so fun, is that it's, like, you don't have to pay attention that hard to know what's going on, because it's, like, happening as you are watching it. Like, you don't have to really focus that hard, and it makes it pretty easy to jump into, like, at any point, like, if it's ever on TV, which I doubt, because it's, like, a very obscure film, in my opinion, because it's hard to come by, as we briefly said before watching it. Like,
Yeah.
Buying the DVD is actually very hard to come by. It's like, they price it way up. There's supposed to be, like, a release for Blu-ray that's probably never coming out, honestly.
Yeah, I mean...
Sure.
There's probably some kind of rights issue, I bet.
Well, then,
Yeah, that's
I guess
that's it
we've
for
talked
me.
about the movie and certain scenes and how we feel about it, but we can wrap up with any trivia we know about it, and definitely, like, the budget and sequels and things of that nature. You talked about how it's hard to get the movie. But do you guys know the budget or box office by chance? I know, so if you don't know, you can take a guess at it. What you thought the budget was for this movie? Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely gonna take a guess. Should I go first, or Lindsay?
I
You
mean,
want to
I
go
already
first?
know as well, so...
Oh, okay. I guess I'm the only one going then. I didn't bother looking it up because I've seen the movie already. I'm guessing the budget is $5 million, and the box office is...
Well, you're close on the box office.
$8 million.
The budget. The budget was $3 million, so it was lower than you thought. And the box office is what I found was
okay.
Like 270,000. 207. I think so. I think I'm just looking at the U.S. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think it did that well when it first came out. Like, it was pretty critically acclaimed, but I don't think it gained that cult following until after The Lord of the Rings had come out, and there was some sort of revived interest in it after that.
Yeah, it got banned in a lot of countries, which I knew it wasn't financially successful because it got banned in a lot of countries, but I didn't think it was that low.
And just some trivia about the film. Peter Jackson also helped write the story for it, but he has an appearance, a cameo in the film, as the Undertaker's assistant for like a few seconds in the film.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of cool.
A real
Isn't
Hitchcockian
he in Lord of the Rings
right
though
there.
too? Doesn't he make a cameo? Okay.
You know what? He probably does. I can't. It's been a few years since I watched the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
I watch those quite frequently.
I rewatched the director's cuts of all three.
That's so
around
long.
The same
That was
time.
good for you. Those
I did
are...
it. What?
Okay.
I had mono. I was sick for like a month. I mean, like, I didn't do it all at the same time. I did like one day Fellowship, maybe 1 or 2 days later did Two Towers. And,
Yeah.
I mean, I was sick for so fucking long. I had nothing else to do. Mm-hmm. I was like, well, I guess it's time to watch Lord of the Rings again.
Okay. Well, with that, if you guys don't have any more trivia, we can defend or destroy. But I think I know where we all lie. I think.
Yeah, let's go ahead and defend and destroy.
I'll start. I'll defend it. I really like this movie. It's really gory, so be prepared for that. Even if you think you can take it, it's just a lot of blood and a lot of gross scenes that you probably didn't think you might see in your lifetime. So other than that, it's shot really cool. I really always love slapstick horror. Like, I'm a huge fan of Reanimator. I've talked about it on this podcast. Pete thinks it's overrated. I think it's great. So I love these types of movies. So I would recommend it if you can find a copy of it somewhere.
Yeah.
Lindsay, what do you think?
Well, I think it does a good job doing what it's supposed to be doing, so I'm gonna defend it. That's not to say that I wasn't disturbed or creeped out, but that's what it's supposed to do. You know what I mean? It's like, so I think it served its purpose in that sense. Like, do I think I'm gonna watch it anytime within the next 10 years? No, probably not. But it packs a punch, and I think it was well acted. Like I said, I think the main character made a lot of strides, which I like. I always like seeing, that journey within a character. So yeah, I mean, yeah, that's all I have to say.
Obviously, you know what I'm defending. I just think this movie is it's very enjoyable. Like, the first time I watched it, like I said, I was with a group of friends. And I think that's the best way to watch it, in my opinion, because it's really nice, just like enjoying the movie. Like, and the second time I watched it, I actually rented it at ISU from the Movie Fans. If any people from ISU know what that is, rest in peace. I don't even remember. It was like a group of people, and then I was like, I'm gonna rent this film and fucking show them this crazy ass movie. And then I surprised them because they didn't know who the hell I was, because it was like my friend bringing 2 other people that I didn't know to my apartment, and I was like, we're fucking watching this movie. And so I made a hell of a first impression, probably.
Unsuspecting people.
Luckily, the 2 people were actually very big horror fans. I just got lucky. Okay. I think I just really wanted to rewatch it, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna make these people fucking do what I want to do and watch this movie. And I'm pretty sure I also insulted.
Oh boy.
The things that they watched, because after we only one. I know it was only one thing. They were after watching the movie, they asked me other things I liked, and then they're like, "Oh, I really like Family Guy," and then I proceeded to talk shit about Family Guy for the next 2 minutes.
Y'all really hit it off, huh?
And yeah. I mean, they just thought it was funny because they didn't think I was being that serious, but I was being really serious.
No.
And I was like, I'd rather get fucking cancer than watch Family Guy ever again. I definitely said that.
Jeez.
Which is pretty horrible.
That's so extreme.
But I definitely said it. It is. I mean,
I see
yeah,
how
it's
you
just
Yourself
feel.
up and do a tizzy.
how passionate. This is how passionate I got. Yeah, I did.
Well, that's great.
All right, well, with that, I think that concludes our discussion on Dead Alive for this week. Until next time, we have a website. We got a website up. Look at it. We got several new blog posts coming all the time, so you can check those out. We're on Twitter, on Facebook. We'll try to hit you up with what our next episodes will be. Let us know on Twitter, Facebook, or our forums what you want us to hear, what you think of these movies. As well, just a final thought on Dead Alive. If you look for it, it also goes by Brain Dead in the USA. So if you see Brain Dead, that's also the same movie. It's not leading you somewhere astray.
There's also another movie called Brain Dead, though, so watch out for that.
Yeah, look for the parentheses Dead Alive next to Brain Dead. If you looking for
Directed
the
by
movie.
Peter Jackson, come out 1992-ish.
Mm-hmm. But with that concludes my wrap up. And until next time, I'm Matt Johnson, and I remain in the shadows.
Lindsay, you
I
do
don't
one.
know what to say. I'm just gonna.
I'm Peter Hansen, and I kick ass for the Lord.
That's a good one.
Yeah, just steal a
I'm gonna
lines.
say that the party's over, and we'll see you next time.